whenever I hear suicide, the first thing I say is, I'm so sorry, but you mind me asking what kind of character the person was? 9% of the time, say, even the because they're basically, he was just, he do anything for you. He lit up a room, everyone loved him, and we're just so shocked that he couldn't see it.
On this episode of All Things Lifted, I'm on my way to Navan, County Meath, to the Hot Box to meet Rory O'Connor, or Rory Stories as he's more famously known as. He did a celebrity episode, or a celebrity series of Ultimate Hell Week, and I worked as his medic, and he's a really cool guy, and I'm delighted today to have him on the show because he's not just a comedian, but he opens up about mental health and all things Rory. So on today's episode, Rory and I are going to go for a run and head in for a sauna and a cold plunge. Hi Rory! How are you?
Right. Great to see you again. How are you? How are you keeping?
Oh my God, you're a legend.
Good
really
to see you.
appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, good, yeah.
We'll get geared up and go for a run.
Yeah, come on, yeah.
Let's
sure.
go.
Oh, yeah.
What got you into going on social media and Rory Stories, as we all know?
I suppose it's probably well documented now, just struggling and ask for help, like with gambling was my kind of addiction, so
Okay.
I asked for help with a fella called Jerry Rooney. He's like an addiction counsellor, and came to the kind of conclusion that it's addictive personality is what I said, but like in the last recent years, I suppose diagnosed ADHD, and that makes a lot of sense, and it's very common now. And you hear people say, everyone has a bit of this, bit of that, but I'm very much on the side of neurodiversity, where it is legit, like, because when you go through the key factors of, like, say, ADHD, your impulsiveness, your lack of dopamine, your hyper focus, like, and they're all, like I always say, if you think of 3 words, for instance, you're the perfect person to come into a bookies, because you never know, when you're better or whatever. What's the way of phrasing, you're never satisfied. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's something that, like, even like I'm so much more knowledgeable now than I was. Like, I started, I think 12 years ago I would have started, like, I'm 10 years since I started by this year, which is mad. Like, when I think about that, something that I just went for, like, ended up being, the success it has been, thank God. But, like, even with all the knowledge, I still have the mind addiction, like,
Yeah, of course.
You know yourself, you can get addicted to anything, really.
Yeah.
I think the majority of drug addicts and alcoholics are, neurodiversity. I've no doubt about that. So, and I think if there was more knowledge back in years gone by, there would have been a lot more, I suppose, less overdoses and suicides potentially, and that. So that's kind of how it began, was asking for help, really, and then I just opened up that creative part of the brain and just kind of went for it. Yeah.
Who we all love. Like, I love your page. I've been following it for a very long time, and I just think it's brilliant. Putting yourself online and making it so creative it's so interesting, and it's great what you've done. And I think talking about the mental health side of it is massive, and I know we'll touch a good bit on it later, but you did things before anyone else was doing it, and I commend you for it, because, like, it's particularly in Irish men 10 years ago weren't talking about mental health and weren't taking a risk, because we're an awful nation. We'll put each other down, and we'll, it's always, sure, how are you? I'm grand, as opposed to, no, I'm doing really well, or I'm not doing well. Do you think, like, when you're talking about mental health and suicide and all this, do you think men are better at telling you that they need help, or are they better at actually accepting help? So do you think they'll talk first, or are they more receptive to somebody asking them?
I think, like, it is a lot better, but I do think that it's still a good bit off, like, what I mean? Because, like, there's still, whatever we want to call it, chemical in males, I believe, that, like, I'm weak if I talk, like, and that's what I still believe. And even now, like, when I'm struggling, like, still find it hard to talk, like, and I'll generally, when I'm feeling a bit better, I'll kind of talk down. But when I'm, like, you still have that, no one who wants to listen to you, like, you know what I mean? And but that's just like even just chatting to friends and relations and all. There is still that vulnerability kind of blockage with men that you just don't want to be perceived as like the word he's a bit of a softie. It's just a horrible description of the man that a man would like to be called, even though it's there's a lot of strengths because you're vulnerable and show vulnerability. But I just think yeah, sure, he's a bit soft. Like it is that word that does definitely annoy men. So by thinking of that word, you're nearly afraid to say I'm feeling a bit sad in my head or whatever. But if I've had the toughest of lads, like, come up to me like that, we doing anything in their life and say, yeah, this my head's not good and all. Like, I think that's what they need to understand is it doesn't make you weak or it doesn't make you
it's a sign of strength.
It is, and like it's because. But look how hard it is to say it. So anything in life that's hard to do or to say is obviously you need strength.
It's important and it's important and worthwhile. Yeah. Like obviously, in my career in the ambulance service, I've gone to an awful lot of suicides. Like I've lost count, and that's probably a really sad thing. But of all of them, I can count on one hand the amount that were women. And I've noticed, and it's just subjective, like a trend, like you're talking to the kids that have been out with them, they're like, we were having a great night, we went to Supermax and he's gone, like we don't know what happened. And I feel like sometimes a switch flicks with lads and they're so headstrong, they'll just go and do it. Whereas I think, and I'm not generalizing everyone, and I've been to horrible, the ones I've seen that are women, but I think as women we're good to talk about it, and we'll think about it and we'll ponder, and then if we make a decision, our decision is kind of final. But I think some lads, they just jump the gun and it's the worst day of their lives and it's horrible. And I always say, like, if I could just bring them to that, like, it's awful, and I'm talking like flippant here, but I've been to an awful lot of hangings. I remember going to 3 in 1 week and they were all in their 20s in Galway, and I turned around and I said to myself, if I get a 4th this week, I'm leaving the job. Like 3 in 1 week, young people, and you see the devastation. And I'd love to bring them back like an hour or two after it's all over. We've worked on them, it's calm, the family have got over that shock. And just to show them that now you're suffering, it's gone, I totally understand, but it's the people around you that love you. If you have people that love you, that are now taking that cross for the rest of their lives, and how you just turn off the switch if you make that decision, but you're at rock bottom. There's so much more. You can climb that ladder, and the only way surely is up when it's that low. And we've all been at that low point. But I'd just love to bring them to the aftermath and show them how haunting, and it's just the eeriest, it's a horrible feeling. It's the one call I hate going out to.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad. Like I remember 19-year-old, 6 months with the girlfriend, and he took his life by hanging. And I wanted to shake him and go, you won't even remember her now. And your poor life, your life is gone and your family's lives. And it's just so sad. And I think as well, and I call me controversial, but I just don't think we've good enough mental health services in this country. I think we need to step up and double our game, because people have to go to A&E, and people go when they've alcohol on board, and then they're not entertained until they're sober. But actually that's when people are at their bravest, is when they've had a drink. A lot of people, that's when they're vulnerable and brave enough to open up. And I think it's awful then that they're left waiting, because clinically, we can't assess you till you're sober.
This is a proper call. Something actually, I'm glad you brought up, because I wanted to ask, because I'm probably fascinated is a bit of a weird word to use, but I am borderline fascinated by mental health and suicides, because I lost my cousin when I was 16, and that was 20 odd years ago, where suicide, why, what, like, as far as I could see, he had never gone from a life and now was gone. And I only lost my uncle last year, my mom's mother, to suicide, like, which was another, like, but other end of the spectrum. One seemed to have his whole life ahead of him, and one seemed to have had all the hard work done.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be, should be winding down. And it's one thing people, like, I obviously do a lot of kind of talks, and people always say, Rory, what are the signs? And is it an impulsive thought, or have they been fighting the fight for a long time? And like, whenever I hear suicide, the first thing I say is, I'm so sorry, but you mind me asking what kind of character the person was? And as you know, they'll 9% of the time say, And even when they go,
Best crack, yeah.
even when they go, I don't even fucking need
Yeah.
more language. Even the because they're basically, don't. He was just, he do anything for you. He lit up a room. Everyone loved him, and we're just so shocked that he couldn't see it. And I'm always like, fuck it anyway, because there's another example of, and I couldn't know what that feels like, where you are friendly to everyone, but your brain, whatever way your wired is, like a million people can say you're a great lad and you can do a lot of good deeds and you can help a lot of people. But if you can't see yourself, it's a battle. And I actually only had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with a close relation, and I spoke to him about that. About I speak to the doctor Murta I have for my ADHD, and I remember asking him there last year. I said, "Doctor, ask you a question. I want you to 100% not honest with me. Is it capable for my brain to actually be happy with who I am and be satisfied?" And he actually said, "The science would probably say no." And I was like, I kind of knew that, because, you know, my wife said to me a few years ago, "Rory, the more you cheese, the more you actually eat out." Because I'm like, I know it's fucking nuisance. But as I say, it's better to know that dibbly do, dibbly don't. So at least, so what I take from that, Dave, is okay, so no matter what I achieve, my brain will somehow still be like, yeah, but like, what about that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say
It's scat. Sorry, it's
yeah.
I can relate on so many levels.
Yeah, so what you have to do there is, before you take on any mad decision, you have to look at the consequences. So like, for instance, like chasing the highest of the high, it's like, but why are you sacrificing? Like, you know, for me personally, I have a lovely wife, I have 3 lovely kids. Like, by me thinking that I'm gonna, you know, scratch that itch by, you know, going touring England, touring America, doing videos, doing shows, doing fucking film, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I know now that no matter what, because I look at some of my heroes, like Robin Williams, for instance, like, you know, I'm going through Robin Williams films now with my kids, like Hook and Jack and all. And Robin is the perfect example of that. Is like, he achieved everyone, one of the funniest human beings of all time, and he took his life, couldn't deal with it anymore. You know, Jim Carrey spoke an awful lot about him. So it seems to be the kind of the happy-go-lucky type of person is the one who is kind of has that chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
And I believe, like, you know, you can do whatever you want. So, for instance, a lot of people will, you know, alcohol was the problem. So they stop drinking drugs, stop doing cocaine, start running every day, start doing marathons, start doing ice baths, start, you know, going, traveling, start doing, you know, the highest peak in the world, start joining cults, start hugging trees, start praying to God. But the people who've been through all that will eventually sit down and say, I'm still fucking not satisfied. And that's actually okay. You think you're going to find yourself by doing all this extravagant, but you're really only, you know, yourself, you're only, which is good, like, don't get me wrong.
You're fixing an itch, that's what you're doing.
You're fixing it.
Yeah.
So it used to be yoga, it used to be ice baths, it used to be sauna, it used to be whatever floats your boat. But eventually, but that is okay. And then, because life, it goes by like that, and then you just move to something else, and you'll know, okay, well, I'm never going to be 100% content with who I am, but that is okay.
Yeah.
It's actually okay. But the key is when you're really starting to dip, you know, that's when you say, do you know what? You might think I'm actually fucking the happiest person in the world, but I'm actually miserable. And you're like, what?
And how do you find, you know, we'll say, like, when you have to be on for social media, because there's an expectation, you know, what you're following. They expect, I want a skit now on Friday night for Rory.
Yeah.
How do you find when you're just, well, you're not in the mood, but you have to put on the acts?
Yeah, so again, and it's experience, like, kind of over time. I'm sure, like, the likes of young TikTokers will eventually have to learn that, like, it's very similar to drugs or gambling. Like, so, like, you know, you do a video, you get a viral hit, you get a dopamine. That's the natural, and then, you know, what happens is you make one and then it doesn't do as well, and suddenly you're not as good as your last performance. And it's kind of, you need to work on that. It's like, what are you doing it for? Like, are you doing it because you enjoy it, or are you doing it for someone else's gratification? Someone who you'll never know, you probably never will ever meet, and whether their opinion on what you've done is determine your mental health mood for the rest of the day. And it's something that you have to just work on. And, like, you know, I think it's like that in life. When you expect something to happen, like, you're so 100% to happen, this is guaranteed to happen, and it doesn't happen. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Then something that you're like, I don't know, and you do it, and it turns out to be the greatest thing ever. So social media content is like that. You could put all your effort, write something, film it here, spend loads of energy, time, editing it perfect, and you put it online, it just goes, and you're like.
And for you, do you get the enjoyment out of creating it, or is it the reaction from people?
Yeah, it's the, so, like, what I love is when, like, you know, you get that electric bolt in the head, and you're like, And I love when I say it to people who I trust, I say about it, and they go, oh, that's actually bang on. Like,
Yeah.
so, and then I get a real high off filming it and like vision it in my head. It's no different than a interior decorator. They love coming into the room and, you know, Dermot Banner, but I'm seeing, oh, you know what, and that's me with sketches. So I'll see something out my walk and I'll voice note to my wife or myself about, you know, every time someone does whatever, and I get an enjoyment out of that. And there's somewhere, you know, put online, and you don't really care what it does, because I enjoyed it myself. And there's plenty that I've made that I'm like, that's not funny, but I posted because my following find it funny. And there's some that me and my wife will get a laugh out of it, and I'd post, I'm like, I went down like 11 blooms, like, I fucking think it's gas. And we'll enjoy it because we got a giggle out of it. And that's it. Like, at the end of the day, like, like, there's no such thing as a good addiction. Like, that's one thing I've learned. There is simply not. Like, and I learned that, you know, transferring my energy to put a bit on into making videos, and then, you know, I've written 5 books, so that was all energy. Now I have a new tour coming up.
Now you're a high rock star.
Yeah, and now I'm a high rocks banker, and all this kind of trying to, you know, but I was never really obsessed with my body or getting body fat down, because I just love my food too much. That's one thing I've just accepted. Like, you know, I'm very extremely content and happy with who I am. Like, and it's just my brain every now and again tries to trick me. Like, but like, I've no real aspirations of like getting my hair done, getting my teeth done, fucking getting all this hair shape. I don't like, because I know it's not gonna change.
Yeah.
When I'm not feeling myself, whether I have the most beautiful teeth, a flock of head of hair, a 6-pack, fucking fake tan, all that fucking bollocksology, or lovely jacket or coat me, my brain will still annoy me. So it's like, and I always say to young people, it might start now, you don't like your lips, you get to them, then Botox, then, oh, I don't like my arse, then I don't like my knees, and all of a sudden then, you know, you're not anywhere near the person, your authentic self. So I always say, no, whatever makes you happy, but is it though? And I got some laugh one day when my wife was getting ready and I was blah blah blah, and she turned around and says, do you think it's actually men we're trying to impress? And I was like, well, obviously, yeah. Well, you're not a lesbian, are you? Because we're married. No, but like, women dress up to impress other women.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So you don't give a fuck what men think you wear? No. And as if I should. I'm like, it's one day I'm going, I was this age when I realised that women do not give a fuck about what men think. I'm like, that is mind blowing. You know, and it's only then. So in other words, but I'd say, like, but who are you trying to, like, you can do yourself up to the nines, and someone could say, oh, Debbie, I prefer your hair the other way. And your brain is like overdrive. And that's only one opinion, where everyone might love it, but they mightn't say it to you. And you go home then, and it makes me so depressed, especially when I'm a teenage dog, go to a room crying her eyes out and spend so long putting makeup on and so long being perfect. And all of a sudden, one fucking insecure prick said to them, I don't think you're good looking, and that's after
Catalyst.
and they're in the room, and that's where impulsive thoughts can come from.
I'm gonna go for a dip.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we might as well.
Oh, that's nice. Look at the view. Oh my god.
This is Essence County Meath right here now. Like, the river Boyne. You know, you're not too far away from Navan, not too far away from Trim. You're just right in the middle of County Meath here.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to the Hot Box for having us today. It's great, like, that you have this facility here on your doorstep. It's amazing that you can look out at the river, and you've a couple of saunas and cold plunge and a place to get a cup of coffee. It's a really lovely, all in one place.
In fairness, like, the Hot Box here is one of the OGs of kind of sauna, cold water therapy. Like, and as I said, like, a lot of people would have them, you know, portable ones beside the beach, but like, you literally have the river Boyne, as I said, stepping down into it. So you have the option of the fresh, proper, we'll say, hardy water, or you have obviously your chill water there. Like, and it's a really popular area. Like, it's always busy here. Like, it's brilliant.
Oh, it's really, really cool. That was a good run.
Yeah, lovely. As I said, few nice hills around here as well, like, to test yourself, like, and like, there is just something very lovely about, like, going out for a run, getting a sweat up, and then into the cold, like.
Yeah, it's fab. It breaks the ice for us as well when we're meeting. I know we've met before, but obviously, as you know, it's an unscripted series, so it's nice to. I think we've tried to do that with everyone. is do a bit of exercise first and just
Yeah.
break the barriers down, and that this is general chat and it's all about you, and it's not a scripted series and formal, you know. So
Well, like I was only saying that to someone the other day, like that. Like, I don't think you'll ever replace alcohol for opening up. Like, if you get me, but I think a good workout is the closest thing I get, or the likes of a hike. Like,
yeah,
I think like a hike, especially for men, is really good because like you kind of you're out there and you're slowly getting tired, and when you get tired you don't really you don't really think as much about what you're going to say. You just say it, like, because you know, everyone remembers being back in the house parties and the kitchen heart to hearts where someone might say something to you and that's never spoken about again, and it's too awkward, and it might be, you know, 6 months later, by the way, I still remember what you said to me, you know, and that's moral. So like, what you're trying to do is get away from needing alcohol to be able to have a conversation. And I think by the likes of the cold water, you're in a vulnerable position. You're definitely high after you get an endorphin from the cold water. That then you might be in a position to talk.
yeah,
And same with exercise. I find when you're just after, you know, people would spend themselves in a gym doing a tough workout, and then that's when maybe, you know, they might talk. So that's why I think there is a huge link in exercise, obviously with mental health, but also opening up.
yeah. And that's kind of
Um,
what we wanted to do with this show. Is no, not a lot of people want to be on front of a camera. I detest it. Like, it's a bit of irony, really. But the nice thing about this is we just start like as if we've met each other, and we are going for our routine, our morning coffee, our jog, our
Yeah,
sun, our dip,
yeah.
and it's just chatting about life, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to do it. Regarding your high rocks, so have you any more races coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing one in Athlone, the hybrid series.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
done a few of them, which are really well run. And yeah, like I suppose like it is another fad, as they say. Like, but
It's a good fad.
it is a good fad,
Yeah.
and I think it like CrossFit was obviously very popular, but it never appealed to me because like I'm just so big, I suppose. Like you need to be, I believe, a certain kind of physique to be able to do all that kind of pull-ups and all that kind of stuff.
The
Where this,
gymnastic side of it.
yeah, I honestly think High Rocks, like, genuinely is for everyone.
For everybody,
like,
yeah.
and now they do, like, in the one that we do in Harbour Series, they do relays, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I'd love to do a relay.
Yeah,
Are you doing it on your own, or who are you doing it with?
I'm doing it on my own.
Deadly.
I haven't had the balls to do it on my own yet. I've done
Yeah.
a couple of doubles. I've done one with my wife, few with mates and cousins,
Class.
but I'm training now at the minute to do one. Like, it's mainly running, like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it is, but again, it's like, you know that place where it's like the minute you go, you're in the dungeon.
Yeah,
It's a bit like when you first get into the cold water. For that first 30 seconds, you can't think of, I can't pay my bills. I can't think of, I've no money to this. I can't think of what will the world be like in 5 years' time. I can't think of, you know, something I done years ago. You can't think of anything other than, I am fucking freezing. I need to get out here. Same when you're in the depths in the training. You're just thinking of, I need to get oxygen into me and keep going. And there's something, it's a switch off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I do. Some people hate. I enjoy hardship. Like,
Yeah. I like a
it
bit of
takes
it myself.
me. I know I can't always rely on it fully for to be mental health, you know, stable mental health, but fucking like it works. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm
It's the
just
feel good factor
it is
after,
the
and when you
feel
break
good.
the first wind, you know, you get through that first leg where the suffering, you know, that initial pain, and oh my god, what the f am I doing? Why have I done this again?
Yeah.
After 10 minutes, then you cross that barrier, you know, and then you
Yeah.
hit it again probably 20-30 minutes later. But there's a great satisfaction.
You know as well, David. I think we're only realising now that for a long time when I was younger, we all thought people go to the gym for their physical appearance, which they would have for their six pack, you know, their rock hard abs, all this kind of stuff. But now what I've understood is like the majority of people that go to the gym on a rigorous, you know, to go to the gym like whatever 4 or 5 days a week, it's purely for their head.
Yeah,
And for me anyway, like I know that when, like, so say if I'm doing a gig or if I'm doing a talk or whatever I'm doing, under no circumstances and no reasons I will be training that morning. There's absolutely, and I always find it's funny when I'm on tour, it used to be like, you know, the drinking might ramp up because you might have a few drinks after your gig to keep the high going.
And I still would have a couple here and there, but now it's 100% turned to training. I remember a few years ago, Kevin Hart done a 3 arena, and he was spotted at like at 11:30 at night running through Dublin City, like, and I was a fucking lunatic. But now I'm like, oh, I get it, because he's trying to balance the high he got from performing. 100%. So what I do now is, I know, like say, like during say September, October, when my gigs start to ramp up on tour again, that like my physical body will be put under a bit of pressure to help my head. Like, so what I'll do is I'll train, say the gig's 8 o'clock, I'll train in the afternoon. So it means when I stand out on stage, I'm confident. Yeah. And I'm not in my head, and I'm ready to deliver, and I'm sharper. And I think everyone can relate to that by going, if you have like an exam coming up, or you have a job interview, or anything that you need to be at your best, just promise yourself you're going to train. Like, that might be just going for a walk to gather your thoughts, but don't pull yourself out of bed, have no breakfast, fucking walk in there and expect to be delivered, because one is you're not going to be confident. Like, and exercise instills confidence. Like, you know, we all know you train, you come out of the gym, your head up, you're able to make eye contact with people, you're able to kind of just go about your business, and like people underestimate that. Like, you know what I mean? Fuck having big muscles or having fucking skinny fucking arse or whatever that floats your boat. Fucking here, like, you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Just
like, I have a time to a T. Like, my other half, if I'm in bad form, you know, November, December, the weather's shit, you haven't seen sunshine in a while. My other half will say, go for a 20-minute run, or go out to the gym. I'm fortunate enough to have a bit of equipment out in the garage. Go out there for 20 minutes. And I know, and it's time to a T, that once I hit that 20-minute mark, I am happy. Yeah. So I'll be there for 20 minutes going, why am I doing this? I hate this. And as soon as 20 minutes hits on the clock, I'm now happy. I'm getting that release, you know, the serotonin, the dopamine, everything, all that release you get from exercise. And I believe like a cortisol flush out nearly, you know, and you're relaxed. And now I'm like, all right, now I'll finish it off. I'll do another 20. Or I might leave it at that and go. And then do 22 minutes the next day. But it's that I come back in and I'm like
a different human being. Like,
it's crazy. And like you were saying about before you talk, like before you go out and stage or public speak. So I've noticed after very high octane calls, like a very bad accident or something like that, and I'd finish work, and it was more so in the ambulance service because we're on shift for 24 hours in my job, but or if you were at a cardiac arrest where you're working hard and you've just a surge of adrenaline in your system and so much energy. I used to finish work and I'd run my best run times and my longest distance after that, because I'd have to feed it. You couldn't just sit at home and try and watch TV, because you're so high after. And it's I'm not saying it's a good high, but you're just so wound up after what you've done. You've so much adrenaline, you need to just burn this off. And I've had some of my best workouts, which is crazy, and no music workouts where you just go. And like running is not I'm not a runner. Like, I lift the weights before I run, and you probably saw that today. But it's just incredible what the body wants and how good it is for us. Like, it's just phenomenal.
But like we are as human beings designed. We're programmed to move the body. Like hunter-gatherer day, you're programmed to get out and move the body. And I always say, like I'm no doctor, I'm no nurse, but I always say to people, they're often quick to prescribe, you know, antidepressants. In like, you know, you could walk into a doctor's practice now and, you know, you have the courage to say, listen, doctor, I'm not myself and I'm worried about my mental health. And by the time you even finish giving your date of birth, he'll be already typing out drugs. Where how I look at medication is like a food pyramid. It's like, right, so you start at the bottom and you say, right, so tell us, what's your day today? Oh, well, you know, would you drink? Yeah, would you? No, drink 3 days a week and maybe 7 or 8 points. Okay, what about food? How's your food? Wouldn't be great now. I'd maybe take away 3 or 4 nights a week. And how's your sleep? I don't sleep at all. Now the exercise, I can't think about anything worse than going out walking. Right, I tell you what, let's just try half all of that, right? So let's cut and then come back to me. And then, you know, and like 60 to 70% of the time when you've ironed out that and you know what works for you, you're in a much better state. Now, if that doesn't work, then you move on to medication, because medication 100%, like I have to take for my ADHD, for instance, to keep me kind of somewhat stable. But like I always tell people, before you kind of jump in, just try and change some sort
and see if it works.
See if it works.
And if it doesn't, there's no stigma around taking a tablet.
That's what I mean.
Like I've plenty of friends who are prescribed antidepressants, and I think look, quote me, I could be wrong, but I think every second person in this country is on some sort of, or requiring some sort of assistance with their mental health. But like the way I looked at it is, and I remember someone saying to me they felt a stigma around taking the tablets, taking antidepressants, and I said, you have to look at it. So a diabetic, do they take insulin or metformin or whatever they need, or someone who has epilepsy, they take anti-seizure medication. Someone who's deficient in vitamin D will take vitamin D. The way I look at someone who has to take an antidepressant is, you're just lacking in serotonin, and you've tried everything to, I suppose, fix your gut, and we know the gut brain axis and all how it's linked there, but you have to look at it as if it's just a vitamin or a mineral deficiency. There shouldn't be a stigma. I hate that it's called an antidepressant. It should be just, you require serotonin or whatever it needs to be. Because if I was lacking in vitamin C, I will take vitamin C. So you're just lacking in that chemical, which actually has a direct correlation to the brain and makes you feel sad. So I hate the stigma around it. And it's great that now there's so many alternative ways where you may be able to boost serotonin levels, gut health, exercise, and there's so many things out there, and other ways, and dopamine and reward factors and all of this. But I think I hate the way, and it's the old Ireland where it was stigmatized, whereas actually it's like, no, I take that because I need to take calcium for my bones. Simple.
No, but you're right, and you hit the nail on the head with stigma. It's kind of like if you go to our generation and someone says, "Oh, I believe Debbie's on antidepressants." Oh,
yeah, what's wrong with her?
Oh, Jesus, Debbie. I just the last person I thought now, and I'm like, as you said, but like I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like you're lacking in iron, you take vitamin. You're lacking in vitamin C, whatever it is. And for a great example is that I take melatonin. Yeah. So I take melatonin most nights before I go to sleep because I'm lacking it in my brain. Like, so it's basically like I struggle to fall asleep. And I remember asking the doctor saying, like, I don't want sleeping tablets just yet, would say, like, we'll do down the road, whatever, because like they're addictive. But he said, no, you're just basically giving what your brain doesn't have, like, and I take it and it just makes me fall asleep quicker. Yeah. And that's fine, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Again, like with the ADHD tablets, I take them because, when I'm hyper, I get over hyper, and then I get fucking wired, and then I get so engrossed, and then I'm depressed because I've completely I've tipped over my edge, and now I'm burnt out. Or now with the medication I'm on for ADHD, it kind of just stops me going too high, and it just balances me back down, and
without taking away your character.
And like as I said, like people think like like nothing lasts forever, and it's whatever gets you through certain times in your life. It's like if you have a massive tragedy, you have to go on antidepressants naturally. That is absolutely okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's all about being here tomorrow. Like whatever that looks like. You know what I mean?
And I've said that to people. It's funny because I know we spoke about it in the sauna, and I've gone into quite a few suicides, like an awful lot, probably close to 3 figures, but I've equally been out to multiple near misses, and if one little fucking pink tablet or whatever colour it is the difference between you being here tomorrow and not, take it all. It's, I think we just need to, I think we're getting there, but I think we need to destigmatize it a little bit more,
and like just because I'm obviously very interested in it, when you come across the suicide, then are you present when the people closest to them come back, or are there? Are you?
Yeah, I have been. Like, it all depends on the situation. So generally, if someone has died by suicide in their home, family will have found them. People who generally jump in the river, the family aren't always necessarily around, because that's an ongoing search that could have taken days, weeks, hours, minutes. It all depends on the circumstance. But yeah, I remember going out to one before I joined the Coast Guard, because obviously search and rescue, we're called when they haven't been found, or if someone jumps in, we're called. We're not going out to the house calls. And I remember going out to a little boy who hung himself because he was being teased at school. And again, we talk about that day was the worst day of his life, that he made a decision that he didn't want to be on earth anymore. And I know at 12 you're probably not mature enough to make that decision, but he made that decision because his life was probably pretty shitty, being bullied. And just, that nearly broke me. That was one of the worst calls, and I actually did. That was the first time where I sought the help of.
You had to defuse.
I had to debrief, you know, and SISM. And I remember I was going out on my own. I was on a response car. It was a lovely day. I had just got a coffee. Life was good, you know. It was a quiet shift. I was like, this is a great day, you know, Friday evening. And then that call came in. And it's the call that sits with me forever, and it'll never, ever, ever, and it leave my side and comes into my head an awful lot. And I know a female guard who was on it too, and it sits with her too. Rory, thanks so much for meeting us today. We're so grateful, and thanks for giving us your time and coming on the show, because I know it's a big ask and you have a busy schedule. It was lovely to get you on and have a chat. And
no, it's brilliant. And like I learned just as much off you, like, because I'm obviously very interested in similar stuff as yourself, so I'm after taking a few nuggets off yourself going forward, like, and I think the number one thing we can say is the surroundings, like, you know what I mean. I'm obviously a very proud Meath man, and it's great to show off Meath and all its glory at the minute. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome back anytime.
I really appreciate it. And one last question then, it is all things lifted, so what lifts you every day?
The big driving force for me is thinking of myself when I was kind of 10, 11, 12, when I just thought I wasn't good enough, or I was stupid, because obviously school was like that back then. And I think, you know, there's a great saying, it's like, be the person you needed when you were 10, and it's something that can get me emotional at times to think about. Like, I carry myself that way, going that, like, if your 10-year-old can see you now, like, and that's why I'm so passionate about, obviously, the education system. And it drove me on to write my books, to be able to say to young people, listen, you know, I'm dyslexic, you know, struggling in school, and, you know, school is very difficult, but I know I'm an intelligent human being, where for years the education system led me to believe I was stupid. And when you're led to believe you're stupid, that's when you fight with the devil, and that's where addiction and all sorts of trouble can come along. So I think that's what lifts me is it's never been money or fame or anything like that. Obviously they come with, you know, because I'm you know, my gift was to be the person I am, a character, and tell stories and whatever you want to call it. So that just naturally comes with, like, I'm not this like surgeon with lovely hands that can like be very successful, know who you are. It's just telling stories and having crack is something that, like, was always a kind of good trait of mine. So that's what lifts me, is to be the best version, and just try and do the right things. Like, life is hard, like, and just try to do the right things, like, do you know what I mean? And try not be too hard on yourself. And if you can help someone out, help them out, because, like, no one knows anyone's going through. Yes, that's what keeps me going. Yeah.